Hi YouTube, this is Robin. I really shouldn't be doing a video. I'm going home tomorrow, I'm going to my brother's wedding, which is in Wales. I live in Germany, and I'm actually in the process of packing, but my son is asleep and I'm being really naughty and watching YouTube videos. I was just watching one from my friend from Lulu. I'm going to comment on it soon, Lulu, I promise, and mymimiworld. And the mymimiworld was mentioning in her update how, because she's pregnant, and I'll put their channels, I'll try and do a link to their channel somewhere here, or if not I'll put it in the box below. I always want to do this when I do that. I'm strange, yes I know. Yeah, and Mimi is a bit worried about the birth of her second child, which I can seriously relate to, and Lulu was talking about breastfeeding, and those are two issues I'm swinging back and forth and destroying my desk in the process. See, look, I'm digressing. I'm so chicken about doing this, but I want to talk about Luca's birth and breastfeeding. Well, I do and I don't want to talk about it because I'm actually scared of comments I may get from some people, but no, I think it's important to put it out there. I'm going to tell it like it is, or like it was, and the reason I'm doing both, because they were very linked in my opinion. Right, first of all, and this will probably take several videos, I will warn you, I have no notes, because, and I've done it on purpose, because if I start writing notes I'll get chicken and not actually do it. I'm doing this from the best of my memory, and Luca's birth was, I'm going to warn you, it was quite traumatic. It was hideously long. I'm not saying there aren't people out there who haven't had worse or longer. Everything was alright in the end. But I'm just warning you now, in case you're pregnant and you don't want to hear about a traumatic birth, or if you're TTCing and you're like, hey, I just don't need to know this. Also, can I preface this is not what happens to everyone. I have a lot of friends who had fantastic births, absolutely drug-free. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, they're not going to tell you, oh, it wasn't painful at all, but you can get through it, seriously. You find the will, and I don't know where or how, but you do. It's not like it is in the movies, seriously, because you'll probably sit there for the first few contractions for about half a day wondering, has it started yet? Is it? No, right? There's this kind of like, oh, first contraction, oh my god, I'm in agony, like with the first, that just doesn't happen. Well, it didn't to me, it didn't happen to most of my friends. They, like me, spent about half a day going, is that it? Was that just a practice contraction? Is that a real contraction? Yeah. Half a day, right. No, I did not spend half a day in that phase. I spent rather longer, and I'm sure I know a lot of other people do. Right, let's get down to some facts. Luca was born Wednesday the 10th of March 2010. The Friday before, he was due March the 2nd, so he went quite overdue, and 2 days after he was actually born was the cut-off point for where they would have induced me to smoke him out, so to speak, if he hadn't have made an appearance by then. But he kind of decided to come out on his own, kinda, right. The Friday before he was born, so he was born on Wednesday, early in the morning. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon I started having, remember this is all from memory, in fact that will probably give you more of a feeling of how I really did experience the whole experience. The Friday before Luca was born, about 4 in the afternoon, I started having, I would say, probably false labour contractions. They did hurt a little bit, but they were alright. I mean, I'm a very suffer in silence type, and I'd done a lot of reading, and I knew, you know, that it can take a long time before you realise you're really in labour, so, and I wasn't sure, so I didn't tell anyone. we were watching a film, my husband, my mother and and I sat there for a good 3-4 hours, keeping an eye on the clock. Well, I sat there and I walked around obviously as well, I didn't just sit there for hours. But that evening I just kept an eye, I didn't tell anyone anything, I kept an eye on the clock, you know, kind of tried to observe the timing and the strength of the contractions, and I just didn't want, you know, to get anyone excited, and I could tell it wasn't really worth doing anything about yet, so I just carried on as normal, as many people can. That night I went to bed, and then during the night they got worse, or more intense, let's put it that way, but they still weren't that bad. They were enough to wake me up, but I was like, they were very erratic, so I got up because I couldn't really lie down. I watched a film, or I tried to watch a film. I tried to time the contractions, but it didn't really work because they were all over the place. They were a minimum of, the longest apart they were 8 minutes. But I didn't need to hold on to anything. I didn't really need to do any breathing. Well, not intensive breathing, and I actually fell asleep again. Yeah, so Saturday, the day after that, no contractions all day, and then I don't think I had, did I have any Saturday night? I might have had a few in the night, but nothing exciting. So Sunday, I actually told my mum and my husband eventually. Said, well, you know, I think I was having practice contractions on Friday, or when I'd lost my mucus plug on the Thursday. And I said, I think we need to go for a walk. It was freezing outside, there was loads of snow on the ground. But we went for a walk. We went for, and my husband was literally dragging me around. I'm like, just get this baby out of me, we need to get out there walking. So we went for a very, very long walk. And then we came home, and that night, so this is the Sunday night, they started up again. I think that walk did definitely have, yeah, an effect, because they really started up again, and then I had to breathe through them, and I had to hold on to something. Yeah, really did. And my husband, it got to the point where I actually I had a bath to see if they'd go away again, and they weren't going. They were getting stronger and stronger and closer together, so I was like, okay, this might actually be it now. And I got my husband to start timing them for me, and I said, don't tell me, because I was worried far too much about timings, about strength, and I'm just like, just tell me when, if we get to a point where you think we need to go. And he knew if they're coming, say, every 5 minutes for an hour or two, then only after that point can we consider going to the clinic where I was going to give birth to Luca, because I did not want to go there and have to come home and all that kind of stuff. So my husband was timing them, and I don't know how long he timed them for, because they were intense by now, and I had to hold on to him, to his hands, and breathe. And I was I felt like I was floating in this white light, and it was painful, but it was kind of cool at the same time. You're all going to think I'm weird, but I was kind of enjoying it, if that sounds bizarre, although it was really quite intense. But this white light thing was fabulous. It was obviously endorphins going around my body, and my body was literally drugging itself, and I was like, hey, I like floating in this white light thing. And my husband interrupted it. Oh, I'm going to interrupt this and then do another video. Bye, on to part 2.